How's it been so far, guys? Look at this. I don't know if you all know, but I'm one of the co-founders of the conference. And it just makes me extremely happy to see everyone here. It's months and months and months of planning for us to organize these events, and I don't know, it's extremely joyful for me to see all of you here, and I'm very happy about it. So I wanted to, for those of you that don't know me very well, I'm gonna just kind of explain a little bit about my history here. So I've been in the industry for a little while. For the first 5 years of my experience, I worked in agencies. So I was designing software, some for like ski resorts, for the Utah Symphony, things like that. And the last 8 years of my experience, I've worked for software companies. And 5 of those years was for a company called Experticity. And then I went to a company called Instructure, if people know about it around here, for a little while, and designed an app for some parents. And then I went and worked for a company called Needle, which is a sales chat software for companies in e-commerce, like Nike, Adidas, Reebok, maybe you've heard of a few. And then now I am currently the product design director for Jane.com. And I have some wonderful things to share about that experience in this talk. So going back to front a little bit, I wanted to show, just for some nostalgia, we're in an amazing venue, don't you think? Yeah. If you would have asked me 4 years ago if we'd be in this amazing venue, I would have just laughed at you. The first year we did front, it looked like this. This was our, I don't know if, so Nate Barrett mentioned in his talk that there was a swamp cooler blowing down and dripping on him, basically. That was that venue. So we've come a little ways. In the year after that, we were at a venue where it was a little bit more tight-knit, still kind of raw, and then last year we were at the Libby Gardner Hall. But it's amazing to be here with you guys today. So let's get into it. My talk is called Strong Opinions Loosely Held, Design Rules versus Guidelines. And I'm going to start walking into what I believe is how we should structure our teams. And I believe most companies these days are starting to structure their teams with engineering, product, and design cross-functionally. I think we've heard a couple times here the EPD model, Spotify squad model. I mean, I think most of you here are very familiar with that. And that's a very good structure to have to break down barriers or walls that we have within our organizations. But I feel like there's still some challenges that we continue to have, even though we've kind of broken down the facades of the walls between engineering, product, and design. And I want to talk a little bit about those things. At Jane, when I joined a year ago, we had 1 designer, 1 PM, and 30 developers. And it just wasn't a good environment to actually get stuff done and move quickly and make good decisions. So at Jane, we've invested a lot into product. They hired on Taylor Fisher, our head of product, and I was the second hire to be the product design director. And we scaled that team from 1 PM and 1 UX to 11 of us now. So we now have 1 PM, 1 UX to 5 to 6 developers, and that's set a good foundation for us. And I won't lie that it's not perfect yet, and we're making that better over time. So I want to go into a little bit of what the focuses are of these different organizations and how it affects design. So I'm going to look at it from the design lens, but from the perspective of these different organizations that we now work cross-functionally with. Engineering is constantly struggling to balance technical innovation and tech debt. That's their focus. And that's what they think about all the time, whether we're sitting next to them or sitting in the other side of the building. Their focus is this. And product is struggling to balance understanding and efficiency. And design is focused on, is struggling to balance consistency and vision. And people talk about this three-legged stool, and to make a three-legged stool balance and sit on it, you have to have that balance of all those departments. I constantly, as the product design director, I am constantly asking myself these questions. As we grow as a design team at Jane, how can we become more efficient? We went from 1 designer to 5 designers. How can we scale that? If I went from 5 designers to 1,000 designers like Cameron Mole, what would I have to have in place to be able to accomplish those things? And how does that affect the other organizations like engineering and product? So when I look at a new project at Jane, I look at them in these 3 different lenses. This is kind of borrowed from Nate Walkinshaw's directed discovery and how he decides on what to work on. But the number one thing I look at is it an innovation story? So is it a net new offering that we're providing? Is it an evolution story? Do I build on an existing feature? Or is it an optimization story? Improve an app or a site performance? I'm going to focus on the first 2 today and talk about some examples and some of how we've gone through those 2 different experiences and how we have to look at them differently when we're making our decisions. So from the design lens of this world, we're going to look at that, and there's those 2 different areas. It's innovation and evolution in my mind. So when we look at something as an innovative thing, we think of things that didn't exist, the iPhone, things like that. And we all have little stipulations when it comes to software of what we think of innovation. And sometimes we get a little jaded if someone preaches to us that we can go create this innovative thing and it actually doesn't end up being an innovative thing. It's just them telling us or giving us lip service. When we think about that as designers, this is usually our reaction when we want to do an innovative thing. It's just like, let's throw away the thing that we have now and build something brand new, right? And it's just how we think as designers. We just get super, super excited about innovation. And engineers, they look at it like this. They're, well, that's product, but, oh man, I messed it up. Okay, here we go. Dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it. Designers, engineers, it's like, oh, I just went and built something. Now, oh, you're gonna go and erase it now. And I just went and built something, now we're gonna go erase it now. And then product looks at it and says, okay, I'm gonna throw some money at it. Is it gonna come back? Or is it going down the drain? Am I gonna get it? Are we gonna, where's the benefit, right? And so when you talk to these people in these different organizations, that's how they're thinking. And if we can work cross-functionally in a way that we can improve upon that's where we can go. So I'm going to quote Julie Zhu. I think that's how you say her last name. I apologize, Julie, if you ever see this. But so I'm gonna read this. There isn't some rule that says only CEOs or product people or designers or engineers or designated visionaries can come up with great ideas. That's the purpose of these cross-functional teams and going into more autonomous or flipped upside down models for our businesses. And we have this really cool thing at Jane where any employee across the whole company can go and submit an idea. Whether you're a customer service employee or whether you're the CEO, you can go and submit an idea and it's on a level playing field. And we go and validate whether that's a good idea or not. So it's all about the validation. One of the big things that the conflict happens to is like having strong opinions loosely held is if I go to the CEO and I say, I have this thing, we should go test it, is my opinion the same level as his opinion? And or is it at the same level playing field? And we get this question a lot, is like, who makes the final, I think we ask ourselves this question a lot, I think we ask our teams this question a lot, is who makes the final decision on this? And I put a lot of thought into this. So setting clear boundaries is important when we create these cross-functional teams. And with engineering, let's kind of go through that a little bit. So engineering, if we were to set some boundaries around what engineering decides on and what their level of decision is, it's they decide and communicate the architectural and technical strategy. And product, they decide and communicate the research, business, market, and release strategy. And design decides and communicates the interaction, visual, and usability strategies. If we can create those boundaries and respect each other, we can get a lot more done. What happens too often is when we don't respect each other, when we cross those boundaries and we say, I'm going to actually derail your decision on this is a good design or not, as an engineer. Or as a designer, I say, you coded that wrong, so I'm going to tell you to recode it, or I'm going to go code it myself. That's when we kind of derail ourselves. So we as humans often need to see something to clearly understand it. And so those of us that have the ability to effectively convey an experience in a visual way possess a special and important skill indeed. So as designers, we have this ability to be facilitators, to create and visualize not only our own ideas, but the ideas of anyone within the organization. And that's kind of a big responsibility for us because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'm pretty selfish. And I think I have a really good idea, so I'm going to make my idea look good because I have the control of the design, right? I don't know if one of you have ever done that. I see you all raising your hands right now, so I appreciate that. I know. So I'm going to, Julie refers to this as a North Star. So what is an innovation or an innovative North Star is kind of where I want to go. A North Star is a visual output, a video, a storyboard, a series of high-fidelity designs. It is a method to get everyone on the same page. It is inspiration, so think 6 months out, a year out, maybe even farther. So when you're deciding on a new project or there is a new thing and we want to build it, think, and it's an innovation story, you have to think a little bit farther ahead. And it needs to be achievable. It can't be science fiction. What an innovative North Star is not is the future set in stone. I went and created this thing, now we have to go figure out how to make it exactly the way that I showed it to you, the first time I showed it to you. a feature that we already know we need. Just a redesign or a reskin of what we currently have, or something users know they want. So I'm going to jump into a case study here of an innovation story that we were able to do at Jane. So Jane is a marketplace for sellers to sell online. It's a daily deal marketplace. So we have 600 new products that change every single day on our website. Our website is a whole new set of different products every single day, and the process to make that happen is, I won't lie, it's laborious for sellers to go through that process. And a lot of these sellers are they want to be more mobile, or they are more mobile, and they want to be able to submit deals. And the goal was, okay, as a seller, build a native app that solves the needs of 80% of their Jane needs on the go. So right now, all of our sellers, we have thousands of sellers, they have to go to a desktop to submit deals to run products on Jane. But we can see that they're trying to access those pages on their phone. So we thought, what are the things that we could go do to build for that? And so what we did was we did a mini version of a design sprint. So imagine you guys are familiar with Jake Knapp, the sprint book. And we took that idea and said, how can we take the idea of a North Star, of a longer term vision of an app, a native app for our seller, and really focus ourselves to accomplish something. So as in the true model of the EPD model and getting together, we all got into this really awesome room that we have in Jane, which is our exercise room / ping pong room / go do a design challenge, design sprint room. So what came out of this was alignment. What came out of this was we had done a bunch of research already, and getting all on the same page across engineering, product and design, and QA, and really understanding what they would want out of an app, which then led to sketches that you saw on the wall, which we realized that as a team we were already really close to understanding or being on the same page. And then as we evolved the design, we gave the designer some space to go and create a little bit more wireframe, a touch higher fidelity to have conversations around and make sure that we were still on track, which then resulted in a vision for this app. Sound? Shoot. No sound? Dang it. It's better with sound. No sound, seriously? All right. Well, imagine something like that. I don't know why I just did that. That was very brave of me. Yeah, so this is a video. It's an innovation story. It's something that drove a vision for where the app could be. And in the end, it really was very simple core features that we had found through research, through qualitative testing, through data science, through to figure out what it is that they cared about the most as sellers and that they would do on their phones. It's not a replica of the app or the web app that we have online or the admin. This is an admin. It doesn't feel like an admin. It feels like a consumer app. It feels like thousands or millions of people could use it. And we we presented this at our conference called JaneCon, and they just flipped out. People stood up and started clapping. They were so excited for this. And what I want to show through this example is that taking this idea of an innovation story or being innovative, you can time box that. Literally, we accomplished this within 2 months. I mean, obviously, we had a web app that supported this, but through a design sprint, through existing research or ongoing research that we did, we were able to accomplish something very quickly. We even took on we took on new technology. We developed this within React Native, which is not what our core app is built in. There was a lot of speculation around whether that was going to be good, whether that would feel native, whether that would be suitable for everything. And a lot of that was all through a lot of cross communication. Now I want to kind of shift gears into evolution. So this is a little less exciting for designers, right? So I want you to go and evolve this little thing over here. When you say evolutionary and an engineer looks at it, they think something like this, like I'm gonna evolve into this amazing thing, and I can see the path, and I don't need to worry about changing into a different animal. Product looks at that and they say, I can take this small idea that we have and I can make it more money, more money, more money, more money, until it just is lots of money. What I want and what I hope is that designers would still have this same reaction, because it's just an amazing reaction. And honestly, it's not what designers are usually excited to go do. Again, from Julie from Facebook, constraints are hard because they represent the bar, and the bar is high on existing successful products. Designers who persevere to ship something beyond this bar have achieved something remarkable, but they're often unsung heroes because what they accomplish doesn't come across as big or splashy. Every designer loves to start with V0. Everyone loves to have a clean slate, and it's a lot harder to take something that already exists, that maybe is successful already to some degree, and make it even more successful. It's often the quiet hum of a product getting better and better through the years, a common action made a little easier, a confusing interaction made simpler, a habitual gesture made more delightful. Maybe the average person never notices, but the product continues its upward trajectory. It grows from more popular, it has more impact in the world. And so we'll do the same thing. So what is evolution? Evolution is constraints. We just have to embrace the constraints. It's iterative, it's baby steps, it's additive, it's measured incrementally. At Jane, we have alpha releases and beta releases and full releases. So if we change anything on Jane, we change it incrementally on a day-to-day basis, and we know what broke what. And over time, you might look at what Jane looked like a year ago, and you might look at what it looks like today, and it's very different. But it didn't change overnight like that. It was very incremental. What evolution is not: a reinvention of the wheel, scope creep. Everybody loves to put on their scope creep shirt, right? And say, but what if we just did this little thing? Designers are so good at this. Designers are the best at scope creep. I am the best at scope creep. So here's another great example. at Experticity. I was there for 5 years. We were, okay, this is really complicated and I only have 4 minutes. So we had 2 products, 3.5 and Promotive. We wanted to merge them into to Experticity, and to do that wasn't a simple task. But we had the option of saying we can go and revolutionize it and start from scratch, or we can go and evolve 3.5 into what we wanted Experticity to be, and then just sunset Promotive. So we started here. We started at really high level and say, okay, we've got these 2 platforms. We've got an admin. We've got this other stuff that I don't want to talk about because it's complicated. And then we go into how do we merge those two applications together into a singular application that then is unified, and it's changing the vision of how people look at us as a platform. And we're unified in marketing. We're unified in what we're building in an application and everything. This was a strong vision that we all agreed to have it at Experticity. And the profile page of this was very core to it, because we built software for experts, and we were experts in biking and hiking and running, and brands loved them. We had a retail audience, and we had a software, an industry influencer audience, and we wanted to merge those 2 together because we felt like they were the same. And just over time, I evolved what the profile page was iteratively, like I was used to, in trying to improve an application and understanding what they didn't understand, what they did understand, to help the experts understand what they were expert in, and understand how they were being ranked, and how it evolved into. This was the strategy. We were trying to convert this into a new brand, a new Experticity, and then just flip the switch from 3.5 to Experticity. What we learned about this experience of taking on the idea of evolution, which is usually very successful in a lot of ways. What we learned was that you can only pivot an existing product so much sometimes to deliver an entirely new kind of value. You have to do it in a different context. You won't be able to iterate your way into it. We found that out over a year-long experiment of trying to evolve our way into a new value, which then led us into, now let's flip the switch. Let's actually make this evolutionary projects to innovation projects. And how do we take these ideas and go back to a little bit more of the drawing board of how we can create vision for how we wanted to approach this product, which then led to, from those conversations of wireframes, we were able to have clearer conversations, understanding and vision for our product that led to more designers, more focused on what we were trying to accomplish, design systems to keep us all in sync, and creating where am I now? Creating a fully innovative new vision for what we wanted Experticity to become. I no longer work there. I pulled this up last night to see what it would look like, and this is what it looks like. And obviously I haven't used Experticity in a while, so sorry about that, Experticity. I have no brand certified. Shipping improvements, both big and small, is a designer's job. Usability is a designer's job. Craftsmanship is a designer's job. If you ever find yourself designing if you never find yourself designing a North Star, if you are only ever making existing products more usable or beautiful, then maybe your talents are not being fully utilized. So what I wanted you to learn today from this is the takeaways here are, innovation starts with autonomy and teamwork and cross-functional understanding of each other's goals in their own organization. Setting clear org decision boundaries is very important, and embracing constraints when we're tasked with evolutionary design decisions. And it's not one or the other. Sometimes an evolutionary strategy turns into an innovation strategy, and sometimes you're working on both. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope that you guys have really enjoyed this conference. I've stressed up until this point for you guys to enjoy it, so I really hope you say yes. And thank you so much for coming out.